Hi everybody, welcome to the Mac Most Daily Vlog. I'm Gary.
I'm Jay.
And today, going along with the digitallifestyle.tv, we're going to go and list our top 5 Apple products of all time. So I'll do mine first and then Jay will do his. So basically a lot of honorable mentions here, but I'll do my list first and then I'll talk about the honorable mentions because there's a lot of good stuff I had to leave off. But I'll start off with basically the only piece of software on my list is GarageBand. I love GarageBand. It does exactly what I wanted to do. I kind of envisioned a program like GarageBand when I was a kid using an Apple II. And I said, oh, I want something I can compose music and lay tracks over and all that. And when they actually came out with it, I was shocked, surprised, and thrilled. So I love it, and I still love GarageBand. Also on my list is the iPhone, because that's the gadget I use the most now, and I love it, and it's cool, and it's the phone/PDA I always wanted. Another cool thing is when I was in college, we did all of our newspaper layout using Mac II CIs, which were great machines because they basically did what the Mac II FX did the year before, but instead of 10 grand, they were 2 grand, and it was wonderful. Next on my list is the iPod, because another thing I envisioned when I was a kid was, well, I had a huge record collection, and I had stereo equipment, and speakers, and all that stuff, and just storing and having my album collection through college was such a big ordeal. And then suddenly, at some point in the late 90s, the entire thing went down to a tiny little device. Mm-hmm. Everything was on there. And I was just amazed and thrilled at that. And then my number one thing has to be the computer I've always been the most happy with, even though, of course, it's outdated now, was the G3 PowerBook, which I guess the Wall Street / Lombard style ones, the black ones. The things were like tanks. They worked great. They couldn't get banged up. They were really good machines for the time. I mean, they were right up there with the top machines. They were really good Macs, and I really like those. And I still do. I still have one, except it's a little too banged up to work with, and it's a G3. So honorable mentions, of course, the Apple II for really getting everything going, and also the current line of stuff. Really, I mean, barely just doesn't make this list, like my current laptop with an Intel processor and 15-inch screen, and it can drive a 30-inch monitor, and it's great. I mean, that really is probably, maybe besides G3, the second best machine I've ever owned. So I like that. Now yours.
Okay, well, my honorable mention category is that these were like products that were formerly only available on Apple, and then they eventually got ported to PC, and then AOL. People forget that there was, back in the day, there was, if you had a Mac, you could do AOL, and if you had a PC, you had to do CompuServe, and that meant you had to do command line.
These are supposed to be Apple products.
Okay. All right, but
AOL's not Apple. You could talk about eWorld or whatever that
was. In Photoshop and Director were all programs that only worked on Apple stuff.
But they're not Apple products.
Okay.
All right, so honorable mentions. Okay, fine.
I just wanted to mention those that they were
originally
things that made Macs great.
We got it. Okay.
Okay. My number one. I'm going to start with number one and kind of go down.
Okay.
My number one is Final Cut Pro.
Yeah.
Final Cut Pro was a piece of software that Apple acquired
from Macromedia.
From a lot of people don't know Macromedia, as when it was in its rough form. But if you can't find a laptop in Hollywood that doesn't have Final Cut Pro on it, it is basically, this opened up this for the independent producer. It opened up video editing for them, and it just pushed Apple's street cred up through the roof.
Okay.
Okay. Again, I agree with you with GarageBand. All right. Here was finally a music sequencer that did all these kind of things in a super easy to use, intuitive interface that just about any musician can understand.
Right. Cool.
Okay. MacBooks in general, just, you know, a lot of people don't realize that laptops before Mac didn't have touchpads. They had little nipples.
I love a nib. Give me a nib. Give me a nib right here.
Eve wants nibs.
Every computer ever, every keyboard should have a nib.
But basically form factor and stuff. Okay. iPod video. Okay, it took I didn't buy into the whole iPod thing until I got one that could handle video.
Okay.
And then that made all the difference in the world to me. And finally, iMacs.
All in
I
one.
love the single form factor computer.
Tell us your top 5. You can do it at thedigital-lifestyle.tv or at macmost.com as a comment to this video.